Hello, great people. Wahala deu. Serious wahala as US President Donald Trump vows to proceed with military operations in Nigeria, stating that the operation will come in the form of airstrikes, land operations, or both. In a moment, I'll leave you to watch the video of US President Donald Trump where he made the declaration with his own mouth. This declaration is generating a lot of reaction, including from the Nigerian presidency, that are stating that, well, Nigeria is an independent country, so therefore, Trump has no right to invade Nigeria. In a moment, we'll watch the video. Then when we come back, I will be teaching you a political masterclass concept, which is about the concept of sovereignty. I will be telling you about sovereignty and humanization of sovereignty. What is the difference? What is the similarity and differences between these two concepts? And how does it apply to the situation of Nigeria? If you are the type that values knowledge as regards politics and international relations, I got you on this episode because I will be unveiling to you a lot of things that you perhaps don't know, and that will be answering the question about the legality or otherwise of the intending military action on Nigeria by the US President Donald Trump. But first, let us go and watch the video of the US President Donald Trump. Then we come back for some great discussion. Let's watch it.
On Nigeria, just wanted to ask you, do you envisage US boots on the ground?
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
There you have it. You just heard from President Donald Trump about the intending invasion of Nigeria after the country was declared a nation of particular concern. If you are doubting whether US will invade Nigeria or not, well, this is not a social media post. You are hearing it from the mouth of the man himself. And this is generating a lot of reaction about the legality and illegality of it. And that is what will make me to give you this political concept. And I will come under what I call sovereignty versus humanization of sovereignty. What do I mean by sovereignty? What do I mean by humanization of sovereignty? And how does it apply? And help us explain the intending action vis-a-vis the legality and illegality of it by the US government. Before I go into that, I must say that if you are watching me and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please make sure you subscribe so that others can get to see this video as well. And make sure you share it so that others can get to see this video as well. So subscribe, share, and make sure you turn on your notification button. Now, let me go into sovereignty and humanization of sovereignty. Now, to help you get the explanation of sovereignty, let me first of all tell you about the Obesian nature. What is Obesian nature? Obesian nature was when life was short, nasty, and brutish, as asserted by a scholar called Thomas Hobbes. The Obesian nature was before the evolution of government, before we have anything that we call government today, or you have a state or any constituted authority that administer over your affairs. Before we had that, what we have was the Obesian nature, which was when life was short, nasty, and brutish. At that point in time, when life was short, nasty, and brutish, you can extort anybody, you can cheat anybody. So people gathered and say, we cannot continue like this. Let there be something that we can look up to. Let us submit ourselves to an authority. Let there be a law that will be guiding each and every one of us. And that led to what we call the evolution of state, or if you like, you can call it government. That led to the evolution of government, that okay, we will submit our right, part of our right, to earn other rights. What right are you submitting? The right not to exploit other people that you are more powerful than. The right not to collect other people's property just because you have power and influence more than them. What right are you earning? The right you are earning is the right to be protected, the right to have a good and comfortable environment to live in, whereby you can thrive according to your capacity. So that evolution of state brought about the what we now call government today, whether you want to call it Nigerian government, Lagos state government, UK government, American government. That is how government came into being. Now, I spoke about right? There's the right of freedom to live and explore without let or hindrance. Now, let me explain something to you as regards that particular right to live without let or hindrance and how it pertains to the country itself. I've explained about individual, how the state evolved. Now, let me tell you about that of country. Now, you see, on the aspect of country, there's something that happened, which is that As human beings are free to operate, are free to live within a country, and they are being administered over by a government. Their affairs is being administered over by a government. Now, think about it. If those human beings, if they are succeeding in a country, but then their country is subjected or can easily be overrun by another country, what do we call that? Then all your effort will be a waste, because if a fellow Nigerian does not cheat you, tomorrow Ghana, Togo, or any country at that can easily invade your country and cheat all of you. So for nations to be able to operate freely on their own, they now develop the concept of sovereignty. The concept of sovereignty implies that as a country, you are free to operate on your own. No other country can come and invade you, just like human beings no longer have right to trespass and invade themselves. So that's the one of country is called sovereignty. Now, sovereignty is something that every nations enjoy. It is bequeathed to nations, and every nation is free to operate as it is. But then there was something that now changed the concept of sovereignty, that brought about what we now call humanization of sovereignty. What do I mean by that? Let me explain to you. Now, the concept of sovereignty, when it was abused by, should I call it sit-tight presidents? There are some presidents, particularly in Africa, that they are sit-tight presidents in such a way that if you don't agree with them, you'll be in trouble. They will say because they have power, they can rule over you, they can behave as they like, then they will trample on your rights. And because there's nobody to check them, definitely you are on your own. And that is common in countries whereby they have weak institutions, like Nigeria. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't like you and he decides to misbehave anyhow, then who will come for you? So the global space, they dictate that particular flaw in some countries. That is how the concept of humanization of sovereignty evolved. Now, humanization of sovereignty came into being as a result of abuse of power, personalization of state. I've just explained both to you. Abuse of power, personalization of state, bet the humanization of sovereignty. Now, the big question is, what is humanization of sovereignty? Humanization of sovereignty is that you have right to live, you have right to operate, to administer over your citizens, or administer over the affairs of your citizens, but everything that you are doing must have a human face. Everything that you are doing must have a human value. Whatever you are doing must not trample on the right of those citizens that you are meant to protect, in the sense that you can't say because you are a governor or president, then you will not do what you are supposed to do for your citizen, or you will now decide to use your power to now be extorting or intimidating or harassing your citizen. So the concept of sovereignty, which means that you are free to operate on your own as a country, should have a human face, and that is what we call humanization of sovereignty, which means that nations are allowed to operate without external interference, so far their acts and operations is being done fairly. Take note of that. Humanization of sovereignty is that nations are allowed to operate and act so far their act and operation is being done fairly to the benefit of their citizens. So if nations fail on security, if they lack ability to protect or are complicit in insecurity, as the Nigerian case, and that's where Nigeria comes in. That's where Nigeria comes in. If you are watching me and you are yet to subscribe, you can see the concept that I'm giving to you. So what can you use to reward me other than to subscribe, turn on your notification button if you are yet to, or share this video. Let others get to enjoy it as well. Now, if nations fail on security, lack ability to protect, or are complicit in insecurity, just as it is been alleging Nigeria, who is to intervene? You know that I've spoken about humanization of sovereignty. So if that concept is breached, who is supposed to intervene? Is it the United States? No. The United States is not the world police. The body that is supposed to intervene is called the United Nations Security Council. Yes, you heard me right. UNSC. the United Nations Security Council, which is that if anything happens, you are to go to the United Nations, and the United Nations will sit on that particular case. When they sit on that particular case, they will review it. They will look at how you are breaching the right of your people, how you are complicit in insecurity. Then they will take a decision, and that decision will not be binding on you. So the United Nations Security Council is to handle it, just so that no country would extort you or invade you just because they don't like your face. So what the United States is doing is wrong. What it's supposed to do is to report Nigeria to the United Nations Security Council. Then the United Nations Security Council, comprising of 5 permanent seat countries, I think US, UK, France, I think Germany, Canada, about 5 or 6 permanent seats. Then there is 10 other countries that they used to vote them in, I think every 2 years or for 4 years. So they will sit, they will review the case, and if they decide that, well, you have breached the law, you are not doing the right thing, they have right to invade your country. And if they invade your country, there's nothing anybody can do about it. There's no nation that can save you, because if any nations try to save you, the combination of the states that comprises the board of the United Nations Security Council will unleash their power and definitely defeat that particular state, or if you like, you can call it country. So the United Nations Security Council is the body that is supposed to be doing what Donald Trump is doing. But what do we have? The United States under Donald Trump has turned himself into a world police. The US has turned itself into a world police. So what the US is doing is wrong, but the US continue doing it. The US has done it in Iraq, Grenada, Panama, Afghanistan, just because they know that doing so will come without consequence. But then let me give you 2 illustrations to point out the hypocrisy of the supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or the Tinubu government itself, which is that when did the United States became a bad country? Now that they want to come and invade you, now that they want to come and trespass your territory, you are crying foul. When did the US become a bad country? In 2014, the US was a good country when they were helping you to defeat Goodluck Jonathan. So the US that is good in 2014 now is no longer good in 2025. That speaks to the hypocrisy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his political associates. And if you are saying that, oh, what the US is doing is bad, that the US is acting ultra vires, that is beyond its powers to come and invade Nigeria, the big question is that, as president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did you not invade Rivers State? Did you not sack the duly elected governor of the state illegally? Did you not do all within your powers to make sure that that suspension stands till it elapses after 6 months? So do to others what is expected to be done unto you. So if you illegally remove Fubara, if you illegally invade Rivers State, then who says that Donald Trump cannot illegally invade Nigeria under your command as well? For some of you that would say, oh, what the president did is legal, oh, there's a constitutional provision, I can teach you a bit, but I cannot teach you everything. So what I would say is consult maybe a political science lecturer or professor. They will explain better to you, which is that you cannot mix autocracy with democracy. You cannot start a sitting governor and impose a military rule. There are other ways that you can implement the state of emergency and get results. In fact, there's a plethora of judgment in that regard. So do well to learn from it rather than to argue blindly. So the case of Siminalayi Fubara also speaks to the hypocrisy of the Tinubu boys. I've given you the international front, I've given you the local front. But what I can say is that the United States wants you to help you unalive terrorists, and you are complaining. That is to my northern brothers. Do you like to live with them? Are they not making your life miserable as well? But then, as it is right now, it depends on if Bola Ahmed Tinubu can get a quick intervention. Don't mistake me. I'm not in support of a country invading another country, but then it is what it is. And at the end of the day, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu can find a way to maneuver himself among the international relations circle, trust me, all these things will be averted. He just needs to show commitment, and as they say in street balance, show workings to the US government and to the global community at large. It's been an interesting time with you. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos. See you in my next video. I love you all. Sincerely.